Bueno, hola, hello to everyone. Welcome to this master class. Thank you for joining us. We are going to be talking a little bit about the sports industry today, and more precisely about fan engagement experiences and how they have evolved through time, and how today we are looking to a future that is full of technology and innovation. We are going to be joined by Andres Felipe Mora, who is the senior partner executive of Socios.com. I want to welcome him right now, Andres. Welcome and thank you for joining us.
Hello, Daniel. Thank you for having me, and hello to everyone who is joining this presentation.
Well, Andres, as I said before, he's been working now with Socios.com, and he was part of the MBA in the University of the Real Madrid. He did the course over there, so he has a lot of experience that he is going to talk about right now, of how he experienced his master, his MBA, how he went from that to getting a job at Real Madrid, and all his experience at the World Football Summit, and then how he came all the way to Socios.com. He's going to tell us all about his career, and then we're going to go through the fan experience and the fan engagement. He's going to show us some examples of how Socios.com is driving the industry today, and how they are creating a new kind of business that is growing and growing every time more. And now we can see Socios.com involved in a lot of companies and in a lot of leagues out there. So it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a powerful presentation from Andres. So Andres, please take it from now, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you very much. So, okay, guys, let's start. So quickly, this is what Daniel was saying that we will go over. First, I'll talk a little bit about my experience. How was my life after the MBA, getting a job, some of the learnings at Real Madrid, and then talk about fan engagement, more exactly what we're doing at Socio.com, and and what's the future of fan engagement. On the first part, I'm not gonna spend that much time because we want to leave more time for the last 3 points. So a little bit about my experience. So before studying the masters, I studied business administration, and then I worked in marketing in 3M, in which one of the best known products is the Post-its, but 3M has thousands of products. And I was also a brand manager for Energizer, for flashlights and batteries. Then I worked for a couple of months before studying the MBA as a strategy consultant. So then in 2014, I arrived to Madrid to study the MBA in sports management, 2014-15. And then after, when in the second semester of the MBA, I got the chance to join the ARIA VIP, which is the corporate hospitality department of Real Madrid. I was there, for 6 months, which was my internship. And that was back in 2015. So after that, my internship was over. I started looking for a job, and I eventually landed on World Football Summit, which, for those of you who don't know what it is, it's based here in Madrid, the offices, but currently they have different events around the world. The most recent one was 2 weeks ago in Sevilla, which was like the European version. They'll be having an African version in November. And basically, it's a congress about the sports industry. So basically, it's 2 days in which you have different speakers attending, giving. You have roundtables, you have interviews, in which the majority of the sorry for that. The majority of the other speakers, they come, or the speakers from the sports industry come to Madrid, or in this case, South Africa or Malaysia or wherever, and basically they talk about what's going on in the football industry. There's an expo area. There are industry talks. There's speed networking. So, well, I was there for 3 entertaining years. I was also in charge of the WFS Industry Awards, which basically it's like a mini event under the 2 days of the summit, in which basically there are nowadays, I think they have like 10 categories, and we rewarded like the best practices around football, especially from the corporate side. And then in 2020, my former boss from Real Madrid, she called me because, as you know, the stadium of Real Madrid was starting to be refurbished, and she called me to join again Real Madrid in 2020. So that's what I did, and I went back to work at the same department I was at in 2015. So life after the MBA. So this is, well, to give a quick overview, because many, like a lot of people like to study sports programs, and then this, I like to say this because it's entertaining. The industry is pretty small, okay, so you have to bear that in mind. A lot of people think that it's huge, and because they hear about the loads of money that players earn and that clubs manage. But one example that I give is for those of you who are in Spain or that are aware of. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, please. I'm gonna silence that because it's pretty noisy. Sorry. So life after the MBA. Sorry, guys. So yeah, there's so Real Madrid, for example, it's not even among the 35 highest companies with the highest revenue. Spain, the IBEX 35 is the name of it's like the S&P 500, but for Spain. So a club like Real Madrid is not even within the top 35 companies in terms of revenue. There is a high demand of jobs and low supply. So as many as there are a lot of people, as I imagine you guys are out there, that want to come into the sports industry, but there's not a lot of job offers. No, clubs in general pretty small. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, they might be an exception, but in general there are not that many jobs. And every time, like I graduated already 8 years ago, every time there are more sports programs, more offers around this. So this is just to tell you that there are a lot of entry barriers, but my recommendation, or what I would suggest is these are two really important things that you should work in if you're gonna study a sports program. One of it is networking. For me, it's the most important thing to develop, not only when you're studying your sports program, but before and after, right? So you need to network a lot, especially during your masters, with your teachers and with your colleagues, but also in general attend events such as World Football Summit, for example, where I worked at. And when you get to know more people, opportunities arise, right? This is one example I wanted to mention. One of my colleagues from the masters, Alex Usamen, basically he knows about the power of networking. So he started this startup called Impulsing. So just to mention it here as well, in case you haven't heard about it, you can Google it, you can download the app, you can look for it on LinkedIn. And basically it's somehow like a LinkedIn and Instagram, but for the sports industry, not only for the corporate side, but also for the sports side, right? So you can find people like me that work in the corporate side. You can find young football, tennis players, basketball players. You can find referees. You can find Escuela Universitaria Real Madrid offering their programs. So it's like three social media in one around the sports industry. So that's really important. Start networking there. Yes,
Andres, I was actually going to ask you about it. You tell us that it's hard. It's a small industry. I've been here in the industry for 3 to 4 years right now, and what you're talking is very real. When we go out of the university, of the master, we find it very hard, and sometimes the opportunities that come to be an internship, to do an internship, sometimes they don't let you stay in the company that you're doing the internship. So it's then from there to getting a job. It's very hard, and it's about connections. It's about networking more than just sending CVs all day long and just expecting for it to go well, right? It's more about connections. It's more about networking. It's so small, the industry, that you really need to go out there and try to meet people and try to engage, right?
Correct. Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with that. That's how it is. So unfortunately, for the that's how it is. But also, like in my case, I'm being really honest and really transparent. And as you are saying, Daniel, that's how it is. However, as you're saying, there are ways in which you can work your way out to getting a job. One of, I don't know, the things I would recommend, I would suggest, is when you meet someone, not only ask for a job, but try to come up with a solution, right? So if you, I don't know, you're going to a club, a small club, maybe second, third division club, and you want to work, I don't know, in the ticketing department, in the marketing department, not only go there and ask for a job, but try to study a bit what they're doing before that, try to do a little bit of benchmark. And then when you meet that person, try to convince them on opening a door for you, so that at least you can try to work there for a period of time. And then if you perform well and you have the opportunity to stay, well, that they keep you. So yeah, that's a piece of advice that I would like to give. And also, that takes me here, right? Volunteering. So volunteering, sometimes we don't take it into account, especially when maybe before the MBA, when we had like other jobs, we were busy working Monday through Friday, and then on weekends we wanted to do other things. But then, especially when you're going to study a master's, in general, you have a lot more free time than when you are working. So it's really interesting to volunteer, to attend different events. This picture is one of my pictures when I was a volunteer in World Football Summit, and it's just an example that in that moment I didn't have a job, so I went over to them and said like, "Hey, I can give you a hand with the volunteers," and I helped them out like with the schedules and yeah, organizing the team of 30 volunteers. And that, to be honest, allowed me to get to know the people at Work for the Summit, and at the same time they got to know me better. And that's actually what opened the door 6 months later, and they called me and they offered me a job. So it's not always like that. I didn't do it for that reason, right? But I did it because I had the free time. I wanted to be involved in this event in the sports industry, and there are hundreds of events you could attend. To mention a couple here in Madrid that I've known people that have gone, the 2019, I think it was, the Champions League final at Metropolitano, the Final Four of basketball that we've had in the Wiesing Center. You have tennis tournaments, you have under 20 tournaments, whatever, depending on the sports you want to follow. And of course, more corporate events. So yeah, definitely volunteering and attending different events, not only as an spectator, but also seeing how they work from the inside is really important. So a little bit about Real Madrid and my learnings. So I got there like in my second part at Real Madrid. I got there in 2020. The works had already started at the stadium. So these were the main things now that I learned there. A lot of attention to detail now, which to me it translated into the word excellence. In the end, I was part of the VIP, the corporate hospitality area, in which you have VIP clients, VVIP clients, and you have to have a high attention to detail to try to deliver the best experience. In the end, we're giving out a service, right? So people are paying to go to a match at a VIP area. Sometimes companies pay for their box to have their box for the whole season. And in the end, we're providing a service. So being good and providing a service is really important. And this means that the stewardesses were nice, that the waitresses or waiters were nice. They had a smile on their face. The food is also important, that it's good, that even like the bad cops, right, which would be the security guys, They need to be different how they communicate with a guy that it's misbehaving on the general stands compared to someone that is inside of the AP area. So yeah, in general, the service was really important. Of course, the logistics and coordinations. In the end, we were delivering an event every week or 2 weeks, and sometimes two a week, right? When you have, I don't know, Champions League on Wednesday and then a match on a Saturday. So a lot of coordination with other departments, with other people, a lot of, interpersonal relationships. And especially during this second part of my history at Real Madrid, a lot of resilience, right? It's the to be able to adapt. No, basically in summer 2021, the stadium was well, there was no pitch, right? Like 2 weeks before the first match, everything was full of dust, and we had to change things very, very last minute. That maybe we did something for the first match, and because of COVID, there were some regulations that I don't know, it was 30% capacity. Then for the next match, everything changed, and you had maybe 50% capacity. So this resilience and being able to adapt was really, really important as a team to get what we wanted, right? Here,
Great, Andres. So the fan engagement, we are going to now get into the main topic of this presentation, which is obviously something that many people have in their minds, and why probably most of you are here. We are going to talk about fan engagement, and I want to share a link through YouTube. You're going to get it right now. It's a link for a video that is called Snaptivity. That it was a product, a service that this company created, which is best described as a way to assure you that when you are in a game, you are focused on the game and not on your phone. So what they tried to do was that they saw this insight about the way people were going to the stadiums and how they were interacting with the game, and they saw that many people were looking through their phone or taking pictures of themselves during the game. So what they did was create a product in which they will use an artificial intelligence in order to take pictures of every moment in which there was a big emotion in the game. So, for example, if there was a goal, the cameras will take pictures of the entire stadium, and then you could go and check yourself into the website and see how many pictures of yourself there were, and you could see pictures of you celebrating the goal, you celebrating a penalty, you probably angry at the referee for a foul. So it was a great way to take the fan engagement, take the fans, the emotions of the fans, and make out of it a product. You can see later the video through the link, but it's this kind of ideas and innovations and creativity that it's right now being deployed and getting into the industry, and we are trying to get there every time more and more. And there is a very thin line right now between all the things that are coming from artificial intelligence and how Meta is going to work with the way we're going to experience sports right now, and many other companies are just giving us products and technology that we are going to be able to use very soon, and it's going to be an amazing experience. And right now the idea is that Andres is going to tell us about how a great example of a company that is doing this is Socios.com. How is he and involved in all these projects, and how each team is creating products and services that will help us to go to the future and try to establish a connection, a more close connection with the fans, being a club or being an event, or probably even being an athlete. Go ahead, Andres.
Thank you, Daniel. And also a quick reminder to all of those who are following us via YouTube that you can put in your questions. So in case you have questions at the end, we will review them. So yeah, basically, what is fan engagement? I like to describe it in short. Fan engagement is the ability to bring a fan closer to his or her club. Well, that's basically what it is. The objective, basically, to give fans the possibility to interact with their club and make them feel part of it. No, that they feel that they're important for the club and that they pay attention to them. Right. From a business perspective, if you do or you practice fan engagement in the best way possible, it allows you to gather data. And with this data, clubs learn how their fans behave. And by learning that, you're able to monetize that. So, from a business perspective, this is really important because I don't know, a lot of people buy jerseys, a lot of people go to the stadium, a lot of people watch on TV their favorite teams. But if the teams don't know how they behave, they're not going to get the best out of it. And in the end, especially clubs, obviously they want to not only give the best to their fans and what's more interesting to them and what adds more value, but of course they also want to monetize this.
Andres, I don't know if you
Yes.
have this, but it's a fact that clubs and venues and events are the ones that are breaking this barrier and innovating in this matter. But what about any given athlete? Are particular athletes interested in this kind of services?
You mean like individual athletes, right?
Yeah,
Like independently. Well, I guess there's a huge opportunity now that I'll explain what is Socios.com. I honestly believe that this is, well, the bare beginning and that this has a huge potential, not only with athletes, like famous athletes, but also with like uprising stars. No, so the typical teenager, 14, 15, 16-year old, obviously there are some legal issues with underage people,
yeah,
but I think there's a huge potential of these people that maybe, I don't know, especially in countries in which they don't have the resources to keep on practicing their sport for a longer period of time. It might help them uh, get money in return, right? And try to have like a longer career, at least to try to make it until they're 18, 20 years old and see if they're able to make it to the big leagues. So yeah, definitely, I think something around fan tokens and something similar to what Socios.com does has a huge potential with individuals, basically, not only in sports, also in music and entertainment. There's a huge potential. Probably after I explain a little bit more about what are fan tokens and all of that, our listeners will understand a bit better about that, and I can give my view at the end as well of how I see this in the music industry and with individual athletes, for sure. So yeah, going back to Socios.com. Socios.com, in short, it's a fan engagement platform. That's how we like to describe it, really shortly. Uh, but more into detail, what is it? It's a blockchain-powered, multi-sport and multi-club fan token ecosystem for worldwide fans. So what does this mean? Basically, we work with blockchain, right? So that's the technology. All of the decisions we have, like fans taking the app, are registered via blockchain. Multi-sport because, well, even though the majority of our partners are football partners, we also have Formula One, NBA, esports, rugby, and different other clubs. Um, and it's in the end an ecosystem for fan tokens, which I'll explain what is a fan token later on. And the worldwide word is really important because in the end, we're giving access to everyone worldwide, not only to local fans. So yeah, as I was saying, currently we have more than 170 partners. These are the main sports we have in the app. And just to show a quick overview, this is a map. It's actually not up to date, but and I don't expect you to read exactly the all the teams that we have, but it's just to give you a broad idea that well, this company has grown a lot in the last 4 years, which it basically started 4 years ago, and nowadays, yeah, we have more than 170 partners all across the globe.
that's an incredible growth.
Yeah, it has been crazy, to be honest. I remember before joining Socios, I knew about them in 2018 when they didn't even have a website. Then in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, they announced Juventus and PSG actually during World Football Summit. And then especially last year, the growth was incredible. I remember in summer, they were announcing like one NBA team per day during, I don't know, a whole month. And yeah, we keep on growing, and now we're trying to also work on the activation side, and try to bring in more value for fans.
Amazing.
So what is a fan token? Fan token is, well, what we use in the app, right? What fans can buy to engage with their clubs. So basically, it's a digital asset that you can buy and sell, and it has like these more specific details, right? So it's again blockchain based, and we try to explain it as the traditional membership program. So in the sense that if you have 5 fan tokens, you'll have access to better things than if you have one, and if you have 25, you have access to better things than if you have 5, and so and so. So the difference is that they never expire. So if you buy 1 fan token, it will always be yours until you decide to sell it. It doesn't expire, and you don't you don't consume it, right? It's not like a coin. It's not a currency. They don't require subscription or renewal. And then what do these fan tokens allow you to do? They allow fans to vote, for example, on kit designs, the number of a player, celebration songs, and other decisions that are important to fans. You are able to access exclusive discounts and promotions, and you are also able to win unique experiences. For example, meet and greets with players, flying with the team, VIP tickets. So there's, in a nutshell, what it's a fan token and what it allows you to do. Here, yes.
Sorry, is it a fan token? And I'm just rumbling here for questions because I get confused sometimes. Such fan tokens are probably you could say that it's like an NFT or something like that.
No, in fact, it's the contrary to an NFT in the sense that
Okay.
NFT, it's a non-fungible token, right? So what it means is that each NFT is unique. So you can have, I don't know, this glass of water. It will have a special design, and it will have, I don't know, a number. So this one is number 108, and then I can have additional like designs or whatever, and this will be
Yes.
108. But then if I have another one, and if it's an NFT, it will be 109, and it will have a different design, and so on. So 108 is different to 109, whereas the fan tokens is the country. It's they are fungible. So 1 fan token of Sevilla, it's the same as another fan token of Sevilla. Like they're exactly the same. You're able to do the same with them. You're able to buy and sell, and they're worth like the same. You're able to do the same with them. So yeah, it's a really good question because obviously these terms are really new, and also the metaverse, the NFTs, the fan tokens. So yeah, it's a good question. But yeah, we like to clarify it because in fact it's different. And for example, socios, you'll see it later on in the presentation. We actually also have NFTs within our ecosystem. So I'll show you that later on.
Why? And I'm going to go straight to a question that I have in my mind when you say you come buy and sell the fan tokens. Why would a very good fan, sell an object that supposedly is created for them to take part in the club's decisions and feel truly part of the team? Like what why would I sell that token, that precious token that makes me a very good fan?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's good question. And in fact, this is one of the things we try to educate people because fan tokens, for example, the Sevilla fan token, which will be launched on Thursday, it will go out for €2 each fan token. But that's only the FTO. The FTO is a fan token offering, which is really similar to an IPO when you have stocks, right? And then when the fan token is listed, the price will start to fluctuate the same as stocks do, right? So a lot of people tend to say like, okay, I'm gonna buy high buy low, sorry, and sell high, and I'm gonna earn some money. That's not the utility. That's not why fan tokens are here. Obviously, you can do that, but as you were saying, and I think that's the best way uh, people should receive the idea of fan tokens. You should actually own a fan token because of the value that it has, right? Because it provides you access to voting on important things and taking decisions that are important for you. It allows you to, I don't know, go to the stadium and have unique experiences. But to answer your question, for example, you're I don't know, you're a Sevilla fan, but you live in Valencia, and also, of course, your team is Sevilla, right? But you also like football, so maybe you want to go to the stadium of Valencia or to the stadium of Levante once in a while, right? So maybe, although you have your fan tokens of Sevilla, because you like to win their shirts and some, I don't know, try to get a fly with the team experience, but you might also would like to win a couple of tickets or redeem a couple of tickets to go to Mestalla on Sunday. So you have fan tokens of Valencia. You might redeem tickets, redeem, sorry, experience points for those tickets, attend those matches, and then I don't know, 5 years from now, you move to Sevilla or to Madrid or wherever, and you're no longer interested in the Valencia fan tokens or the Levante fan tokens because the utility that it had for you, sorry, 5 years ago, that was attending matches, you no longer have it, right?
Okay.
So that would be
Okay.
an example of why you would buy and sell. Um, and in general, I don't know, for example, you have we have two Formula One teams, right? So right now, I don't know, you like to follow Sebastian Vettel, so you had a fan token of Aston Martin, but you're more a Sebastian Vettel fan, and you don't like Aston Martin that much, so you decide to sell it. But now Alonso is arriving to Aston Martin, so maybe a lot of Spanish people who didn't have fan tokens of Aston Martin would start buying this fan token. But in general, yeah, the main answer is when you don't see value in it, right? So sometimes a lot of people in our ecosystem, they buy more than one fan token, not only of their team, especially, for example, people in Latin America, no, they might have their fan token of their own team in Brazil, in Argentina, Colombia, wherever, but they also have fan tokens of European clubs, of different sports, because in the end that gives you access to different experiences. So yeah, but the most like the best answer for that is when you don't have the utility, and the example of the person that lived in Valencia no longer lives there, doesn't have any utility, he or she just sells it, and because
Okay.
they don't find utility in that anymore.
Understood.
So yeah, basically there are like three main things or yeah, the value of a fan token allows you to do three things. Basically, you are able to vote and decide. You receive rewards and experiences. So voting here is one of my favorite polls. Actually, the fans of the Young Boys, the team Young Boys in Switzerland, got to choose the official away kit for this season, 22-23. So as you can see, basically what we do is we agree with the club, like, okay, with the club, and in this case, obviously with Nike, which is their kit supplier, which for jerseys they could use. We put them up in the on the app. Fans vote. Obviously, fans that own the fan token of Young Boys, and the decision that fans take in the app is the decision that the club needs to follow. Right. Rewards. So this is one example from last season's Champions League final. So these are a couple of Real Madrid fans that were able to attend the final in Paris. And basically, it was a reward. Reward could be either by a draw, right? So you had a draw because I know, you answered a quiz and you win out of luck. But also rewards are tied to experience points. So the more you engage in the Socios app, the more experience points you'll earn. So maybe, I don't know, tomorrow you can have a merch item, a signed jersey, or an experience like this one to attend a match, and you can use your experience points, not your fan tokens, but you can use your experience points. You redeem those points for that experience. And the final one would be experiences. So in general, these are yeah, meet and greets, fly with the team, press conference questions. So this was one of the experiences we had a month ago. This was 5 days after Carlos Alcaraz won the U.S. Open, 5 days after he was crowned the youngest number one in the world. So yeah, this fan token holder in Valencia, he was able to meet and greet Carlos Alcaraz. And it was, well, of course, a really, really cool experience for them to have.
Of course.
Okay, so how has fan engagement evolved recently? So I think it has evolved, of course, in terms of the stadium and people that can't attend stadiums. So in terms of the stadiums, especially in Spain, but in general also in the UK, there has been a big investment in stadiums, new stadiums, refurbishments, and basically this helps attract fans. It helps improve the audiovisual product with better TV shots. It helps exploit the building in a better way. And then in terms of TV rights, one of the examples is La Liga here in Spain. If you don't have like the stand where the TV is shooting, right? If you don't have it full of fans, La Liga penalizes you. So that's another way to try to bring in new fans. When you have better stadiums, more people are keen to go. They have a better restaurant. They have a store, and they're getting like a bit more modern. And then fans that can't attend stadiums. So again, in terms of TV rights, the match times, basically this is to be closer to the international audience. The typical example is El Clásico. So this last weekend's match, when they play at 1 p.m. or 4 p.m. as this last match local time, it's more thinking on Asia, right? And when they play it like at 8 p.m., it's more thinking on America time zone. So this, of course, makes these Asian and American fans be more engaged, following their teams. In this case, the El Clásico. But La Liga does this, and all the competition do this with all the teams. Also, the audiovisual product has improved a lot. So as you can see in the picture, the stats and the augmented reality, in this case, the players of Deportivo Alavés, the 360-degree camera, stuff like that has improved the fan engagement for fans that can't attend stadiums. And this one, it's not new at all. As you can see, this picture on the right is really old. It's basically commercial revenue, but now not only teams like Real Madrid are doing it. Yeah, you see teams that could be considered small because of their fan base, because of the city in which they are located in. And they started to sell more merch, do summer tours. So now you can find, for example, one case was a couple of years ago, Eibar, when they had Inui, the Japanese player. They were really, really important in Japan. Another example, nowadays you have summer tours of teams like Villarreal in Indonesia. So it's no longer a thing done by the top 25 or 30 clubs in the world, right? But it's done by almost all the teams, at least on the top 5 leagues of the world.
And I think that we could talk about a very good example that is Wrexham, the team that Ryan Reynolds bought, and that right now it's a global sensation in leagues and all these platforms, because they managed to create out of a team of the 5th division in England a very good commercial product, thanks to this guy buying the team and making it a little bit more commercial, and bringing these platforms into the game. So now they are selling a lot of merchandise. They are worldwide known, and it's amazing because this is a team that is owned by the fans. So he had to go and talk to the fans and tell his idea of what he was. And he's probably a very good engaged the fans and told his project, and he sell this amazing idea. And right now it's just giving numbers, green numbers all the way around. So it's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. And well, here in Spain, we've seen some really interesting cases. Ronaldo buying Real Valladolid, Amedeo Salvo buying Ibiza, Piqué buying Andorra, just to mention a few here, but
Yes.
of course it happens all around the world. Of City Football Group buying more and more teams in different countries. So yeah, in the end, this has created more fan engagement. The summer tours, the selling of the merch, and in the end, the challenge is to have a good balance between the local and the international fans. No, because this is one of the hardest parts when clubs try to reach out to their international fans. That the really local fans start a bit complaining, no, why some decisions are taken. But then that's important why you shouldn't lose your essence, but also remember that you have fans away from your local community, your local city, and that you can potentially also have more anywhere in the world. And here's also where Socios comes in, right? That in the end, Socios.com, the fan token is a product that is for anyone in the world. You might be in Indonesia and maybe you're never gonna go to San Siro or to Allianz Arena or to Etihad Stadium or to I don't know, to El Monumental, River Plate, but all of those are our partners, and they're one app away from being able to take decisions of those teams and feel a bit closer to them. So yeah, that's really important. Um, Basically, to wrap things up around Socios, so basically, it's to be more than a fan. Decision making, voting on binding polls. As you said, we also have non-binding polls, but these ones, the binding polls, are the ones in which the club needs to do what the fans decide. Uh, this was a recent one, which is really cool. Mertens arrived to Galatasaray, and the fans got to choose the number of his jersey, which is something that, to be honest, I thought that that was really difficult to see a football player like give away that asset. No, because football players in general and in general athletes, they're really picky on these types of things. That maybe they only like to, if they're number 10, they always like to be number 10, and that's it. And they like to choose their own numbers. So this is something really cool that we've done in the the last couple of months. Also, for example, the song to be played either at the end of the match or when the players are warming up. Choose the locker room message to give the team a last push before going out to the pitch. This here on the right is one of the examples of an NFT. So basically, the NFTs we like to give in Socios, it's not only the digital version, right? But you get both the physical. In this case, it's a glove worn by Kimi Raikkonen and signed by him. So the person would get the physical item plus also the digital certificate of the NFT. So NFTs in Socios would look like this, right? Other types of rewards, you can win a signed jersey, a player worn jersey, a captain's armband. So something we've done with clubs, fans decide the design of the armband, and then fans are able to redeem it and keep it. So obviously, if you know that armband was worn, I don't know, when your team won 3-0, and in fact the captain scored a goal, well, that's adding value to fans, and it's keeping them engaged. And of course, experiences. No, so you can redeem grandstand and VIP tickets. We've done, for example, new kit exclusive reveal. So basically, a couple of days or 1 week before the teams like officially launch and show their new jerseys for the new season, we have fans attend and see that in exclusivity. Some of them have been able to fly with the team to announce the starting lineup. So you would actually go one day and be a speaker for a day and announce the starting lineup of your team. And as I said before, meet and greet players. So that's it for Socios. And then regarding the future of fan engagement, basically time is money, right? So clubs will keep on competing for a piece of everyone's time. because there's a lot of competition, especially nowadays. We're full of data, full of entertainment options, full of different screens. So physically, clubs will compete with people instead of going to the stadium or being engaged with them via another way. They're competing with them versus movies, concerts, or other sports events. And digitally, of course, they're competing for your time in terms of you being on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Netflix, and not attending a stadium, watching a match, or looking in TikTok or Instagram at the account of your club. So that's basically what's the future in that sense. Clubs will become media houses because they will need to keep evolving and become more entertaining more and more. I think a good example is the Zone. If anyone has the Zone, at least here in Spain, they own the rights of MotoGP, and they don't only show the races, but they also have really cool shows with the pilots, with the drivers, like behind the scenes. So this type, in this case, it's the Zone. It's not directly MotoGP, but of course they've signed that agreement, and they're becoming media houses to keep you engaged, to keep you entertained. One great example around Formula One is Drive to Survive. So these types of interest stories to get to know players, or in this case pilots, a bit more, will keep you engaged in the event on the weekend, happening on the weekend as a Formula One or a MotoGP race. Attract future fans and communicate using the channels new generations use. So there's a lot of debate saying that the Gen Zs and the new generation, they don't watch as much sport, but there are other surveys and analysis that say that they simply consume it in a different way. So nowadays you can have a younger audience maybe attending a stadium, but they'll have their cell phone on their hands, and they might be, I don't know, checking up what's going on Twitter, or they might be following what their team does, but on Twitch or on YouTube or whatever. So clubs need to be where their fans are. One example is this was the first time I saw this was, I think, 2 years ago. It's Nickelodeon did an agreement, a partnership with the NFL, and basically they used these like digital enhancements in the production of the match to basically attract younger fans, right? So it was a normal NFL match, but when a player scored a touchdown, these like flubber lava, green lava cannons would splash. And of course, if you show this to a 7-10-year-old kid, it would be more appealing. Another example is this Marvel.
And that one that you're talking about, the one that you're talking about is amazing because they use it in order to probably more like in academic purposes, because there were many kids that didn't understand the sport because as the kids get younger, they are not the same as the other generations that grow knowing the rules of this sport in the United States. And they saw that the kids were not so interested because they didn't understand the game. So what Nickelodeon did was amazing because they enhanced the game and the way they saw the TV game, and they used it to explain how the game worked through these animations and this and using the cartoons that are in Nickelodeon. So it was more than just animating. It was more like an academic way to show and to teach younger audience about the game. So it's an amazing idea. I recommend people to look for it in YouTube because it's incredible what they did.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. In fact, it was my case when my dad showed me NFL. I don't know if there's anyone in the audience following from the US or that they follow NFL. In my case, when I was a kid and I followed an NFL match, I got bored because, of course, you would see the quarterback throw the ball and the play would end in 6-10 seconds, and that was it. Compared to football, to soccer, it has nothing to do, or to basketball, so you would get bored. So I actually started following the NFL a bit more when I was a bit older, when in my teenage years, and I understood the rules. And this happens in general in many other sports, and I think that there's a big room for improvement. One case, for example, even football, even going to stadiums, When you go to some tennis matches, you see people. I don't know. I saw it in the U.S. Open. They wear like an earpiece. It was sponsored by American Express, and they would listen to to people narrating the what was going on the court. And I think that, for example, is one thing that you miss when you go to the stadium. There are some stadiums in which you go to shout and chant and do other things, but sometimes, and depending also on the profile of people, sometimes people when they go to stadium, they also like to know what's going on. Nowadays that we have VAR, we need to want to know what the people on the radio are saying, or what is the referee deciding. So I think there's a huge room of improvement there. Also in MotoGP that I mentioned it before, it's really cool to listen at the motorbikes and to listen the noise that the bikes make, the motors. But in terms of the experience, the audiovisual experience is a lot better because obviously it's not the same being in a curve in one of the on the track, whereas being on your sofa. So I think there's a huge room for improvement. Just finishing up, here's another example. Marvel and the NBA. They basically took some of the top stars of the NBA and like linked them to Marvel superheroes. Also, another thing that could change, and this is of course a really interesting topic, is changing rules, right? So in this case, it's a picture of Next Gen, which is tennis tournament in which really young players. I think I don't remember if it's under 20 or under 25. I don't remember exactly the age limit, but basically that's how they started, and the rules are different. So as you can see, the court is a bit different. It doesn't have the doubles lines on the ends. Well, here in the picture we cannot see it, but also it's a lot darker. They have like a timer to serve. They're able to coach, so they have their coach telling them things at the very moment. They need to serve quicker. So rules, changing rules, it's also an option to engage more fans. One example is also cricket that changed several years ago. That before cricket matches took hours. Now they also take hours, but less hours. I don't know if they're uh, Asian or Indians or Pakistan people following us, but yeah, that's also something that changed. And this is one last example I wanted to give, which was really, really interesting. As you can see, I follow a lot MotoGP, and I found this global MotoGP survey. This was maybe 2 or 3 months ago. And what I really liked was that, like, I was impressed that they were directly asking fans what they wanted. So this is a survey that was launched between MotoGP, Nielsen, and Motorsport. And actually, it was the competition, MotoGP and Dorna, the owners of this competition, asking fans like how they behaved. So when do you watch a match? A race? Do you only watch the race? Do you also watch MotoGP, Moto2, and Moto3? Do you only watch the highlights? Do you watch them live? Do you watch them when you get back home or 2 days later? And then they were asking on what could they change. For example, would you think it's cool to give points not only to the positions of the race, but also to the pole position? So in general, it was a really interesting survey. In fact, it was really long. It was like a 10-15 minute survey. But for me, it was really cool because I felt that MotoGP wanted to listen us fans on how the sport should evolve. And I think also it's a case study in which many other competitions and yeah, in sports could take a look at now, because in the end, listening to what fans have to say is really, really important. And well, and that's basically the future of fan engagement. Of course, I didn't want to talk again about socios, but honestly, we feel that the fan tokens and socios is, well, nowadays no longer the future, but it's something that's present that nowadays we can use, and that of course it has a lot like it can its potential is really, really big. But that's also the future now. That was the future 4 years ago, and that's why socios.com has grown so much, because people are seeing the value that there's in the fan tokens, and they're adopting this new way of engaging with their clubs and their favorite sports IPs. So that's it from my side, Daniel. Thank you very much for your attention, guys.
Yes, thank you so much for your presentation. It's very important for people out there that are looking for coming to the school, to the university, to do the program with us, and it's really important that they see ex students that came to the university and now are succeeding and are working in the industry and doing so well as you are. So it was amazing. If you have any question at all, I invite you to ask through YouTube. We have 5 more minutes to go. So please, if you have any question, just let us know through the chat, please, and we'll be here for 4 minutes right now. Well, if there is any question, we'll wait for it. But right now, I wanted to ask you something that you talked about the when we were talking about the clubs and how they were trying to engage the audience. I
Mhm.
was I was I've been, I don't know if it's studying or not, but uh, I've been looking for athletes that have also created content companies. People like Naomi Osaka or LeBron James that have created these huge content companies that are doing movies and documentaries and a lot of things out there to bring fans closer also to this new part of the jobs of that is being a sportsman, an athlete. Now athletes are not just about the sport but much more things. So that's why sometimes I get the feeling that the future will also bring the idea that the individual athletes are going to start to be more into this kind of things that you're doing with socios.com, because they really are engaging their fans in many other ways. They're trying to bring them closer with documentaries, information. Naomi Saka talking about mental health, LeBron James doing Space Jam 2, and many other things. The one with the when they cut the hair, that has like 4 seasons. I don't know. It's There's a lot of content being created in order for the fans to get closer to them. So it's more like it's not only the clubs. No, you see there a path that athletes are taking in order to get closer, right?
Yeah, I completely agree. You can see it in social media. For example, clubs, they normally, of course, they want to bring the attention of fans into their own social media channels. But of course, sometimes even clubs compete with their own players, right? Because maybe someone who followed Cristiano Ronaldo when he was at Real Madrid would log in directly into Cristiano's social media accounts and not into Real Madrid. So yeah, definitely it's something that's happening.
Yes.
Um, in which also in this case the athletes help engage those like they complement the clubs as well. And yeah, as I was saying before, I think there's a huge opportunity for athletes, especially for those who currently maybe, well, basically that's how many YouTubers and influencers became famous. No, basically no one knew about them because they weren't professional maybe doing a certain thing, but then thanks to social media people started following them, either because they communicated well, they were funny, they were interesting what they were saying or whatever. And in the end many of them have become even more important like, than other
Okay,
media, than other channels.
Andres, I'm going to stop you there because we have a question from Abnil
Sure.
Matthew. And he's asking how important is to speak Spanish to be able to work in the sports industry in Spain. How do you feel about that?
Well, to be honest, it's a pretty, yeah, it's important. It depends, of course, where you work. In my case, I work here in Madrid office, but we work in English, right? So it depends in which kind of job you're gonna have, which type of company. But in general, I would say that it is important in the sense that, well, not a lot of people in Spain speak English, right? And the sports industry is one of the, well, it's still evolving. It's still I don't know, year after year, it's becoming more professional. More people are arriving to work in the sports clubs. One example, yeah, Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid. Many of them have grown, and in recent years, people from the UK, Italy, the US, Canada have arrived here to Madrid to work in these clubs. But in the end, I think currently it is pretty important to at least speak
Yeah,
a
the
decent,
basics.
yeah, the basics to make yourself get understood. And but again, it depends also on what you will be doing. If it's more on the operational side that you don't need to speak that much, maybe you don't need it that much. But if you need to yeah, speak with other people, with suppliers and stuff like that, definitely I think it's important.
Yes. Another and one last question that we have here, Bendiglow. He's telling us, do you have any thoughts on how to draw more fans to games, especially for smaller teams? And also, any advice where to do an internship? What do you think about that? I have one good answer if you think so, and if you I don't know if you share it, but I think that for smaller teams, when you don't have the budget, it's when creativity goes into place. It's about being creative. It's about trying to find the proper insights inside your audience, inside the club, how the club is affecting the society around it, and try to connect through that. I think that when you have a small team, you have amazing and incredible opportunities to connect even more than great teams have, because small teams are more part of the community than the big ones, and somehow they can be more malleable, and you get the chance to be more close to the fans. So I believe that creativity it's a very important asset in that case.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I agree with you. As you said, many times resources are limited. Creativity is really important. One example that just came up to my mind, Deportivo Leganés, which for those of you who don't know, right now they're in second division. They're from a small town near Madrid, and they were really, really creative in especially on the artworks to attract people to go over to the stadium to watch matches. Uh, and sometimes that creativity was sometimes seen as something maybe that it had gone too far, that maybe a more conservative club couldn't do, but this club could do it, and they would get everyone's attention, a lot of people talking about it. So that's a good example. And yeah, in the end, maybe you need to try to look like for your niche. So one example is, at least here in Spain, women's football is seen more like as a family like event, right? So you try to attract families with young kids. More women attend these matches, not because it's women's football, but because it's more like a family plan. And you try to attack, or try to deliver things in a different way, trying to add value. And in general, small teams, sometimes you're allowed to do more crazy things, creative things, as Daniel was saying. But in the end, that it will give you good results. So yeah, I agree with you. Creativity is really important. Um, and regarding the other question, internships, well, in general, I think LinkedIn is out there as it is for everyone else. Impulsing, also the social media I shared. And as I suggested before, there's a lot of competition. So try to network, try to get to know a lot of people, try to meet those decision makers that will actually be the ones hiring you, meet the person that might be your boss, uh, show a little bit of what you know, try to come up with solutions that in the end, that's what everyone gets hired for, right? To give solutions to the company. And yeah, that would be my advice.
Andres Villamil asks, the more languages, the better. Andres, I think that every time that you have a new language is going to be better, not just for the sports industry, but for your life. It gives you knowledgement, and that's just something that you can. That's just great. It's something that will never be be a less point in your life. So I would say that, yeah, the more languages, well, the better for you, not for the job qualification or something like that. And Nicolas Moncayo, finally, he's saying, is there any example of clubs dealing with fans attendance crisis due to money, stadium far away, traffic, etc.? South America happens a lot. Yes, we are from South America, and it happens a lot.
Yeah, regarding traffic and bringing fans to the stadium, again, creativity. So sometimes it's speaking to your bus partner, car partner, and sending shuttles instead of having people take their cars, speaking over with the mayor's office, and try to have, I don't know, more buses or more subways or whatever. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
obviously
here is the moment when you just sit down and think, we probably need a sponsor to help us do something amazing that will help us bring the people closer to the stadium. Probably if you, I don't know, put a hotel as your main sponsor or as part of your sponsors, you probably can get a discount if you go one day before closer to the stadium and just be closer so that you don't get the pain of getting into traffic and all that thing. So it's just about getting to know the problematics that affect your audience, and start to understand how, through partnerships and through the ideas that you have inside the club or the event, how you can arrange and have those very clear problems to solve. So
yeah.
yeah,
Also, another thing I would suggest to bring in fans to stadiums that are far away or that it's difficult to arrive there. If you have, for example, a fan zone, a fan fest, that basically instead of having the match start at 8 p.m. and you have the fan fest since 4 p.m., people will start arriving a bit earlier. They will start having activities, and also it's really important, because this also happens at the end of the event, do the same, because then people arrive to the stadium little by little, but then when the match is over, you have, I don't know, 10,000
yeah,
cars or 3,000 cars leaving. So you also need to do something after the event to try to entertain them and have people leave little by little. So that's
yeah, and that,
another idea.
that that happens a lot we see that a lot in the American culture, or in the NFL, that people are making barbecues outside the stadium since the morning. So it's really something that we need to start doing, because it's that is making the fans make a very good time experience through the day. So yeah, it's a great question. Thank you so much, Nicolas. So Andres, this was all. Thank you so much for being here again. I really appreciate it. I really have no words to thank you. Thank you to the university for giving us this amazing space to talk about the industry and learn a bit more about what you could get into when you come to a master's in our university. How all these conversations are going through to just get experience and bring people like Andres, that is going to nurture all our minds and our knowledge. So thank you so much to everyone that was present. Thank you very much to Andres, and well, have a good night to all.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you very much for having me over, and thank you everyone for joining the call. And feel free to reach out via LinkedIn if you want to contact and speak further
Sure.
on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ciao.